Hello, dear. It's Heather, and you're watching Save Today with Heather J. I am somebody who has spent her entire adult life living paycheck to paycheck, and I am changing that. That is not a great way to live, and it's not the way I want to continue moving on. And so we are working on a budget so that we can begin to get ahead and get some savings and eventually get to some investments. The month of May to 2023 is my first month ever budgeting. Well, not ever budgeting, but budgeting for this channel and inviting you guys along in the journey in an effort to perhaps have some longevity. Budgeting is not something I've ever enjoyed doing. It's boring, and I don't ever stick with it because it's not fun. So I don't expect this is going to be fun by having this channel and inviting you along, but I do expect that this will bring some accountability, and slowly but surely I will be able to see some long-term results. It is my hope that inviting you along, we can all share this journey and encourage each other as we move forward in this. So that being said, today I am working on my May 2023 paycheck number 2 budget setup. I am a hourly employee who gets paid bi-weekly. So I'm not salary. My income can fluctuate based on the amount of hours I work each week. I am considered a full-time employee, and as such, I can mostly count on 37 or 38 hours a week. A lot of times I go through long periods where it's a very consistent 40 hours a week. Sometimes I go through periods where it gets down to 32, 34 hours a week. I have chosen to estimate my budget at 38 hours each week and 2 weeks per paycheck. And then I do take out an estimated 30% for my taxes and my medical. It ends up being like something like 27.2% or something like that. But I like the nice round number that 30% gives me. So, and my salary or my hourly wage is $20 an hour. I do expect in the next little bit to get a very small percentage raise for our yearly, every year it goes up by 2.5% or something like that. It ends up being not much, pennies. But that might come. It hasn't happened yet, but that might come in the next paycheck, which I guess will end up being in my June check, even though technically it would show up on my May hours. Anyway, so $38 an hour times 20 hours, take away 30%, leaves my wage estimate at $11.40. And I don't like the way that looks. We're going to make that better. If you watched my budget number 1 monthly check-in, I realized very last minute that the way I have this book set up does not give me room to write my estimate and then come back and write the actual and write what that difference is. I'm 1 column short. And because of that, I'm squishing my estimate over into my fixed expenses. As I write June's budget, I will scooch everything over and make this a little bit less crowded. But for right now, we're squished over into this other side. So my wage estimate is $1,140. And I have given myself this line for other. I don't ever expect other, but it's something, the few channels that, the one channel I have watched real frequently that has kind of got me into deciding this might be a thing that helps me, she budgets in other. It seems like a good thing to do. I don't have child support. I don't have a second job. I don't have any annuities for investments or anything like that. But occasionally there will be something that comes through that's unexpectedly. If I have had to put down a deposit, then that gets refunded to me. Those kinds of things. So that's in there just because I don't expect it will ever be anything other than zero, but just in case it's there. So 1140 is my estimate. When I did my May budget setup, I did talk about the fact that my son and I share the phone bill, and he oftentimes will reimburse me, and how I was going to budget that. Somebody suggested that perhaps I put the money he gives me in the other. I have decided I'm not going to do that. I'm going to budget my phone as the full bill, because ultimately it's my name that's on it. I'm the one who's responsible for it. And then if I only end up paying my portion, then that's what I will put over here at the end, and I will be up or down because of that. Now, there have been times where I have paid the full bill and he's not reimbursed me. And there has also been times that he has paid the full bill and I have not reimbursed him. And there's times where one or the other pays for it and the other person pays their portion of that. And there's a whole lot of, it just comes out in the wash. There's give and take on both sides, and there's no, it doesn't need to be rigid. It becomes very uncomfortable if it is rigid. And he has covered me as much as I have covered him on that. Also, you don't have to be living with somebody to share a phone bill. My stepdad and my uncle live 2 states away, and they are on a family plan together. It is a way to save money when things are as expensive as they are. You will see, well, we'll discuss more about that when we get to my phone bill. Let's just move forward from here. So after my income, we have my fixed expenses, which really is just bills. This is all the things that I have to pay, whether I like it or not. I have no say-so on how much it's going to be, and whether or not I get to pay for it or not. So I have my utilities. My utilities are, this month are $168.92. It's actually $148.92, but I do have a $20 service fee. In my monthly setup, my very first video, I did discuss the fact that at this point in time, my utilities are billed to my landlord, who pays that, and then I pay the landlord, and I pay a $20 service fee for that. Because I am new to this state and I have never been a customer of this particular utility company, they want a $350 deposit. I don't currently have $350 to just give away and receive back after a year, which is typically what happens with utility deposits. So for right now, I'm in a position where I have to pay that $20 service fee each month. So for this month, my utilities are the $168.92. Once I get some of these other things paid off, I have a little bit more money in my budget, and I can then pay that $350. But for now, I pay that $20. I do have a late fee for my rent, not from May, but from April. The late fee is $127.50. In April, I had my money well in advance of the first of the month sitting in my account. I didn't get to the post office to get my money orders drawn until probably the 1st or 2nd, till right before the pay date. And then I kept those money orders in my hand and didn't get them to the office until after the service fee was already charged. So I have to pay a late fee for April's rent. I did set up automatic withdrawal for rent starting May 1st and moving forward. So this late fee should never happen again, but I do have this last one that needs to be paid. U-Haul, I have boxes. I have all of my stuff. Back up again. I have recently moved to where I'm currently living from out of state. When I moved this last time, I chose to put all of my stuff in U-Haul boxes to be stored and shipped to me at a later date. And I did that because I wasn't 100% certain which direction I was going to go when I moved. I wasn't 100% certain which position within my company I was going to have. And so because there was so much uncertainty, I chose to put my things in U-Haul boxes and get them once things were settled and I knew for certain where I was going. Then when I was ready to have them sent to me, I was established, I had set up, I had my apartment. I called and they wanted $2,667 to have that sent to me. Now, when I had put my stuff in storage, the estimate was $1,600. And so I suddenly was looking at double and did not have that and knew it was going to be a while before I could get that. So right now I have 3 U-Haul boxes of my stuff that are storage that have not yet been shipped out of state. Those are each $97.99. I have one that gets paid about the 16th and the other 2 get paid about the 28th. So I have the one for $97.99 that is due in this pay period. I do have a credit card payment of $100. This credit card is a payoff for an old credit card that is now closed, and this payoff is almost complete. After this $100 comes out, I only have another $126. I have 2 payments, one for $100 and one for the $26 and change, and then that credit card is paid for and that is done. My phone is estimated to be the $244.01, and again, I am going to leave this as it sits. That $244.01 is in my name. Ultimately, it's my responsibility that that gets paid. If I get reimbursed for that, when I get reimbursed for that, I will have this money be just my portion of it, and then it will just be an underpayment that shows up over here. If he pays for it entirely, then mine will be 0 and this $244 won't get paid. We share this bill, and because it was cheaper for us to have our phones together than to have 2 separate lines, and we can continue that when we are no longer living with each other. It is a way to save money, and for right now, that's how we're doing that. As I said, we don't have to be living in the same house. We don't even have to be living in the same state for a shared bill. And if and when our living situation changes, that phone bill will likely continue to be shared going forward. I do have a subscription for $10.67. And so my fixed expenses is $168.92 plus $127.50 plus $97.99 plus the 100 plus $244.01, and then that subscription for $10.67, which gives me an estimated fixed expenses of $249.02 for paycheck number 2 in May. And then my flexible spending, I have groceries, dining out, transportation, and miscellaneous. And I have transportation listed as transportation and not gas or fuel because sometimes I take the bus to work when the weather is nice. At this point in time, my son and I are sharing a vehicle, and so sometimes I choose to take the bus so that there is less back and forth that happens in the gas and the wear and tear on the car, and so that I don't have to take an extra long lunch break to go and pick him up when he gets off of work. So that's why that's listed as transportation and not as fuel. And again, we don't have to be living together to share a vehicle. There was a point in my past where I shared my sister-in-law's vehicle, and we didn't even live in the same town. So we would just be like, hey, I need it on such and such day for this length of time because I have to do whatever. So that is something that we don't have to be living together. There doesn't have to be rules and rigid. I guess the reason why I'm explaining this is because we have set up our financial separate, but we have a lot of crossover. But I'm not going to discuss his budget and his situation because this isn't his channel. And there are these two things that we share, and there's a whole lot of back and forth, give and take, where I do extra, he does extra, and it just comes out in the wash. It just equals out. There is no like, I paid for more gas than you did. It's your turn. Whoever has the money and is in the car at the time, that's the person who does it. So, groceries, I have estimated that I will be spending $90 a week for a total of $180 a pay period. And dining out, I had estimated that I will be spending $15 a week for a total of $30 a pay period. Both of these numbers are highly deflated. I'm going to need to, at some way, find more for that and cut some of my dining. But $15 a week is not enough for when I have to order lunch for various different reasons at work. And then for transportation, I estimated $20 a week for a total of $40 a month. With the price of gas, that is not enough at all. And then miscellaneous, I had estimated myself $10 a week for a total of $20 a month. If you've watched any of my last couple of videos, you will know that this number is, I'm already over budget in my miscellaneous at this point, and I'm going to have to make some adjustments to that moving forward. I may need to have a line item for some of my sewing and creative endeavors. I may have to just give myself more money for this, and I may have to explore a little bit more about the term just ran away from my head. Setting money aside each paycheck to have in a buffer. Sinking funds, that's the term that ran away from me. I may have to explore more about sinking funds and perhaps set one up for my sewing, among a million other things. So my estimated budget for my flexible spending for this pay period is $180 plus $30 plus $40 plus $20 for a total of $270 estimated for this pay period. And so if we go do my ending, we have an estimated budget of $1140 income, $1140 minus $749.02 in fixed expenses, bills, and a budget, an estimate of $270 in flexible spending, which would leave me with an additional $120.98 to save for the next pay period moving forward. If you watched my if you watched my paycheck 1 check-in, you will see that I finished out paycheck number 1 a little bit under budget, but because I had money set aside, I'm not actually negative. And so some of this will need to be set aside for the following month. Additionally, I should no longer going forward have this $127.50 in late fees. This should be the last one because I have my auto pay set up for that. So that should give me a little bit more in this month. And then as we get into June, my credit card drops off, and I'm hoping that my U-Haul will drop off by the end of June as we move into July. I'm waiting for my tax returns for this year and the previous year. Those have all been filed, and I'm waiting for all of the money to come in. I have federal and 3 states from the year prior, and federal and 2 states from this year that have to file and get all of that back in. Additionally, June is a 3 paycheck month, and so I will have an extra $1140, with which to add to my taxes to then pay that $2,667. And I know when I get ready to call again, the estimate will be different because the estimate is based on the cost of diesel fuel and paying the driver. And I don't know all of the logistics for that, but I'm fairly certain that I will call and it will be even higher than it was when I called in November or December of this past year to get it the first time. So by July, this should be, fingers crossed, gone. Of course, I've been saying that for the last 3 months, that by the next month, so we'll see how that lays out. So that is the end of my paycheck number 2 check-in. And then I always will be choosing to talk about some sort of craft, and I'm going to try and have the same project be here for the whole month. So right now what I'm working on is this laundry bag in the month of May. It is my hope that, it's my plan, that each month will be a different project, and it will be the same project for the whole month, just for some continuity for my videos, and then to do some visual breakup. So I've got another 2 weeks to be working on this laundry bag project, and it is my hope that I will be done with that and not simply setting it aside or no longer discussing it on camera with you. So what do I have left to do for this bag? I still need to create and sew in the lining for this bag, and then I need to get some interfacing and some grommets for this top drawstring. I'm going to do some rope to do a drawstring on here to draw this together so my laundry is not filling out. And then I'm going to be attaching a lid, a flap, to kind of go over that and have some grommets, have some hardware to close that. I don't know why I'm so paranoid about taking my laundry to the laundromat and just having my underwear and my bra fall out and having some weird creepy creep see my stuff. But it's a very weird, like, this whole building, this thing is to keep the creeps from seeing my undergarments. It's just a weird phobia for me. So I want to have this bag be as strong as it can be so that things don't fall apart, and I want to have it contain and hold things so I'm not dropping things as I go from my car to the washing machine. So moving forward, this is going to be folded in on itself, so it will only be, about 3 inches tall. There will be some grommets in here. This month is the month of my birthday, and so I have asked my son to order me a grommet setter. It's a beautiful machine. It's $60. And he has ordered that for my birthday, so I will be able to get those grommets set in there for the rope to go to do the drawstring for that. And that is where I'm at with this laundry bag at this point in time. I'm probably about halfway done with all of the things I'd like to do on that. I won't really be working on this much tonight. One of my granddaughters has expressed an interest on using the sewing machine, so we'll be working on that this afternoon with her. And that is all I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Again, my name is Heather, and you're watching Save Today with Heather J. If you're interested in what I'm doing here and following along on the journey, I invite you to subscribe, and we will talk to you later. Have fun. Bye-bye now.